Welcome to another video lecture for Java event-driven programming, and for this day we will have Java buttons or JButtons. So just before I will discuss this one, I'd like to inform everyone na I will be doing or I will be providing you your midterm examination after this video lecture. So please make sure na you have watched and demonstrate this one so that you can perform your midterm examination. Okay? So, it will be conducted via Google Forms lang yapon so that everyone will be aware on the submission dates. Okay? So, let's start with getting to know Java button. So, if you notice, diba, it talks about buttons. So, I think everyone is already familiar with what buttons are, diba? So, buttons are usually click and then there will be some process that will happen if you click on a particular button. Like for example, I will click the close button. Of course, that will indicate na I am terminating the program or I am terminating a particular application. Okay, so just like in Java also, okay, just like in Java, buttons are used to perform an action whenever it is being clicked. Okay, so Java buttons are to be activated when you click them and then make sure that there is a particular event that corresponds on them. Okay, so whenever you create buttons, it should be or it should indicate or it should perform a particular task that will indicate na okay, this is the action that the button would want to present or demonstrate. Okay, so by definition, a button in Java performs an action whenever it is clicked on. Okay, so gagamitin natin doon is mouse, hindi keyboard. Okay, now for this video lecture, we will focus on how to create them, how to manipulate them, and of course, how to configure them together with other components. Okay, so for this video lecture, I'd like to inform you na I will not be doing it in the main Java file, but rather I'll be creating a public class because yung purpose ng public class is that it will provide you with another area to put other components para if in case there will be some changes. Like for example, you have already more than 10 components na nagamit. So if you will put that one into just one file, mahihirapan tayo pag-locate. Diba? Mahihirapan tayo whenever we would want to make some changes. So to address that kind of matter, what we will do is that we need to provide a separate file or a Java file for them in the with the use of class. Okay, so to create a class in Java, what you will do is this one. Just click on File, click New, and then you click on Class. Okay. You will then be asked on what will be the name of the class. For example, I will use my frame. Okay, so it means that this class will be used if I will be calling or if I will make some changes on the frame. Okay, so to do that one, I need first to create a constructor. Okay, I'll create first a constructor, but first let me use Java frame. Okay, JFrame. Ayun. So mali yung pagkaka-spelling ko. Okay. Ayan, JFrame. Make sure the letter F is in uppercase. So, let's now start. And so usually yung sinasuggest sa atin ni Java or ni Eclipse is that to use Java frame is of course we need to import the library. Okay? Import natin yung library tapos gawa tayo ng constructor para we can indicate na the different components. So, for example, this one, create tayo ng component na constructor na frame. Constructor frame. Ayan. So, wait muna ha. I'd like to clarify my notes here. So, this part here is a constructor, but of course, we need to put an argument. Okay, wala tayong lalagyan ng argument dyan. Okay, so everything that you will put inside here will be considered as part of the constructor. Okay, and then part of the constructor will be, what they call this one, it will also be under the class. So to do this one, or to activate a JFrame or to create a JFrame, lagay natin dito. Okay, but instead of using like specifying frame, since we have already specified na this part here or this Java file here is for frames, we just need to use this. Okay, so this dot set default, yung mga usual na ginagawa natin. Okay, default close operation. So JFrame dot exit on close, ayan. And of course, you have it here, this dot set size. I think everyone knows ano ibig sabihin ng set size, di ba? Set size is the what do you call this one? The measurement of our frame. So the width is 500, the height is also 500. Ayan. Okay, very good. Now, we need also to set the, what do you call this one? The visibility. So, yung visibility niya is of course true para makita natin siya. And then of course, let's try to run this one. But again, this is only part man of the main Java file. So what we will do is that we will call this one. So tatawagin natin si myFrame dito. Okay? So just type new and then myFrame. Ayan. MyFrame. Oops, sorry. Ayan. So si new myFrame, this part here in our main Java file is that you're just calling, di ba? Calling myFrame constructor. Yung ginawa natin kanina. Okay. MyFrame constructor. Okay. Let's try to run this one if it runs. Okay, if you notice, we are provided with a panel. Ayan, di ba? Now, the next thing that we need to do is to, of course, activate buttons. Okay? So, in this example or in this demonstration, yung gagawin natin is that we will try to make buttons as a public, it's a public component para lahat ng other constructors na paggagamitan natin will be able to use it. Okay? So, let's try to create first a global component with JButtons, and then we will name it as button. Okay. Ayan. So here, ayan, you'll be what do you call this one? You'll be asked to create. Ayan. You'll be asked to, I think, need to import first. Okay, import muna natin. Wait. Ayan. I think I'm right na. Okay. Import natin si JButton. Ayan. So, import that javax, that swing, that JButton. It means na yung libraries ni button, you can now then use. Okay? So, after creating the global component na button, we then create the instance of a button. So, just like creating a label lang din, yun lang din yung ginagawa natin. Okay? So, to create an instance of the button, you just type button equals new JButton. Okay? Sir, bakit nyo dito nilagay sa constructor na myFrame? It's because we will be using the frame. Okay? Yan. Let's try to see if ano yung mali dito. Okay. Please make sure na si letter B is naka all caps para hindi siya mag-error. So let's try to set also the location and then the size of the button by using button.set bounds. Ito yung usual na tinatanong sa akin, like, sir, why is it na yung buttons ko or yung components ko is ayaw mailagay sa gitna, sa ibaba, or doon sa medyo nasa gilid. So remember set bounds para hindi kayo malito. So let's try to have it 100. Okay, and then the second one will have 300. The width and the height 200, and then let's have 50 lang para di masyadong malaki. Okay? And then let's also add a what you call one, a text description sa kanya na will have set text. Okay? This one is a button. Button 1. Okay. And of course, let's try to see if it runs. Okay. So if you notice, walang lumalabas. It's because we did not add this one to our frame. So ayan, add muna natin. So tawag natin this, tawagin natin siya. And then this dot add, and then let's have button on the frame. Okay. Try to see if it works. Ayan, button 1, di ba? May nakalagay na. So if you notice, di ba parang medyo ano siya, I think hindi siya visible kasi medyo naliitan ko. So what we will do is that, what do you call this one, is to make the focus of the button para hindi siya in Mac, hindi siya masyadong nakikita, but in Windows there will be something like mura siya naka-highlight bitaw silbi ang word. So to do that one, ato siyang we'll have the focus of it set into false. Button that set focusable, and then let's have it in false. Okay. You cannot see the changes mangyud kaayo. Okay, ayan o. Diba kaganina, or a while ago, it was colored blue, diba? So to remove that kind of, like, more like naka-focus on that button, you can just remove it by having this kind of configuration. Okay? Set focusable false. Okay? Pag natin yung nilagyan, yung itsura niya is parang ganito. Diba? Annoying kasi parang naka-activate yung button. So to remove that one, just make the focusable configuration into false. Ayan. Para na siyang normal na button. Okay. Now, the next thing that we will do is that we will try to provide an action on the button. Okay? But before that, we need to implement action listener. Okay. So you go back to your public class, my frame, and then you will have implements action listener. Okay. So try to see kung ano yung mga error niya. So based on this example, ayan, dapat mo raw i-import si action listener. Okay. Another one dito. Ayan. Wala tayong action listener na method, so just click on this one. Automatic na may ilalagay siya dito na method. So ibig sabihin, lahat ng actions na gagawin mo on whatever components you put it here, dito mo siya ilalabas. Okay, so like for example, if you will create a condition nga every time I click the button, ito yung mangyayari. So you will not put it here, but rather you will put it on this method. Okay, so si ActionEvent method. The ActionEvent method is by default nasa letter E. Okay, yung ano niya, yung parameter niya. So what you will do is, for example, yung goal natin is every time I will put, or I will, what you call this one, every time I will click the button, gusto ko na lalabas dito sa console, like meron siyang ipiprint out. So to do that one, what I will do is something like this. If, ayan, e dot, ayan, di ba? Get source, okay, is equivalent to button, okay, yan. Yung mangyayari is that magsisystem.out siya, system.out.println, and then tapos, ayan, try nating lagay na you click the button, okay. And then let's try to see if it works. Meron bang mga existing errors? Wala naman. So again, yung ginawa ko is that I created or I implemented action listener, which is an example of an event driven, okay? And then after that one, I made sure na meron siyang particular method wherein you are to specify kung ano yung mga actions or events na mangyayari every time you use that particular Java component. So let's try to run this one if it works. Ayan. So, ang sabi dito, or if I will try to explain again the code, sabi dito sa method na ginamit ko, okay, is that every time I click the button, the console daw will print out you click the button. So, ibig sabihin dito, may lalabas na you click the button. Okay? So, let's try to see if it works. Okay. Hindi siya lumalabas. Okay? Hindi siya lumalabas because what I only provided is only the event. But I did not specify kung ano yung, like for example, doon sa button. So, may kulang pa na ilalagay sa button. Okay? So, ano yung gagawin natin? Let's try to put muna action listener. Okay? So, ayan. Tawagin muna natin sa action listener. Close muna natin yung open natin na ano. So, you have it here, button.action, add action listener. Okay? So, again, si action listener is hindi siya magagamit if wala itong part na ito. At wala itong library. So, make sure na naana sila. Okay? So, action listener, okay, sorry. Si action listener is a method that indicates nga please every time na you click on this button, ito yung mangyayari. Okay? So let's try it again. So again, there is the button, there is our console. So click natin. Ayan, di ba? You click the button, you click the button, you click the button. Okay? So yan yung ginagawa nila. Okay? Now, let's try to have, like for example lang. So, for example, gusto mo na, what do you call this one? Gusto mo na, every time, or gusto mo na, once lang pwedeng what do you call this one? Once lang makaklik ng button. So, what you will do is something like this. So, after printing, you can also specify na button that set enabled, and then, lagyan natin ng false. Okay. Look at this example. Okay. If a while ago, I was able to click multiple times, but because I specified the set enabled configuration into false, ibig sabihin na once ko lang siya pwedeng ma-click, and then once lang din niya pwedeng i-print yung you click the button. Okay? Remove muna natin ito. Okay? That's only an example for those who would like to ask. And another thing, hindi lang, like for example, gusto mo na yung mangyayari sa action event is nasa frame. So, actually, pwede din yun. When I say something like that, yung kumbaga, yung gusto nating mangyari is, yung every time I click this button, hindi na siya sa console lalabas, but rather dito talaga sa frame. So, what you will do is something like this. Okay. So, try natin na si icon. Okay? Try natin si icon. Tapos, gamitin na natin si label para, para we can utilize whatever previous learnings we have. So, just like buttons, what we will do is that we will create a global component na label. Okay? So, obviously, since this is not yet specified, maghahanap yan ng library. Okay? Import muna natin. Then, after this one, you can then use na labels. Okay? So, we can now use labels. So, you have label equals new J label, and then this one. So, yung gusto ko is that I would want to use icons para every time I will click the button, yung icon is lalabas. So, to do that one, I need to call or create an object na icon. So, ito. A lot of you here are asking me, Sir, why is it na sometimes hindi lumalabas yung icon na what they call this one, tinatawag namin? So, one of the things that I suggested is that to make sure na yung directory natin or yung location ng icon natin is we are on the same directory. Usually, nakalagay yan sa SRC. Okay? So, what you will do is that you specify the folder name and then slash the icon name. Okay? So src slash and then the icon name. So for example, gusto ko na si button under dash icon 1 yung ipapalabas nila. Okay? So if you notice also, since image is another or icon is image icon is another another component, so we need to import something or a library. Ayan. Import natin siya para hindi siya mag-error. Okay? So tawagin natin si icon and then gamit si label. So label.set icon. Ayan, icon. And then after that, set natin yung bounds. Ito yung usual na mali nung mga nag-ask sa akin na, sir, we cannot just So for those who cannot specify the location, you can just use set bounds, yung sa boundary bitaw. So specify natin dito na 100 siya. Ibig sabihin sa x-axis nasa 100 siya. And then sa y-axis nasa 30 siya. Tapos yung width niya is 250. And then yung iba is 250. Usually yung mali ng iba is that this is what I notice sa most of the submissions na naka sa akin. So yung sa what you call this one, most of their what do you call this one, their configurations on the boundaries are incorrect because hindi nila kayang i-estimate yung x and y. So review natin yung Cartesian plane natin. Okay? Yan. So since gusto natin na tsaka lang siya lalabas if i-click yung button, set natin yung label set visible into false para hindi siya lalabas at first. Okay? Another thing that we need to remember also is that we need to add this component sa ating frame. Okay? So if you notice on the way I code it, I provide them enough spaces para alam ko na this part here is for the label, this one is for the button, this one is for the frame. And every time I add a frame, I provide a line para alam ko kung saan siya tatawagin. Okay? So this add tapos label. Yan. Okay? So, since gusto natin na 'di ba? For example ito. 'Di ba? We did not add anything on the action event. So, if I will run this one, of course, yung lalabas lang is si button tapos hindi lalabas yung icon na tinatawag ko. So, to configure this one, we need to go back to our action listener na method, which is here. So, again, sir, bakit letter E yung ginagamit mo dito? It's because this is the name of the action event. So, action event letter E is represented, button or the clicking of button is represented by action event E. So yung gagawin natin is something like this. Simple lang. If dito, ginawa nating false, pagdating dito, every time na i-click siya, gawin nating true. Okay? Ayan. So if you will try to run this one, okay, 'di ba? Ayan. So lumabas na siya. But then I don't like the position of the icon. So if you have something like this, what you can do is that you just need to configure. Came across some error like this one yung naka-encounter ko, 'di ba? If you notice, yung gusto kasi natin is that we would want this label icon to be on top of the button every time I click this one. But if sad to say, siya nasa hindi the label icon is not on a good position, so I need to look into my code again. So as I was looking into it, what I noticed was that I forgot to add this one. Okay, yung set layout. Okay, so I need to put here null para hindi siya yung positioning ng mga components ko, it will not follow the default format, but rather it will follow, like the additional components will follow the boundaries or the locations as well as the sizes I have configured. Okay, so try natin. Okay, ayan. So if you notice, hindi na siya sa hindi na siya sa side, but rather doon na talaga siya sa position na gusto ko. So for example, I would want this one to be closer to the button. So the button is on the 300. So I think I can put it like for example to 50. Try lang natin. Okay. Medyo nag-overpower na siya. Okay. So let's have it like kung gusto nating uh, what do you call this one? I-adjust yung icon. Just do some adjustments. Okay. Ayan, di ba? So hindi siya pwede sa 200. So let's have 150. Okay. So remember, this set bounds, it means that you are setting boundaries among the components. So you need to be very careful on the coordinates you place on them. Okay. Ayan. So gusto din natin ng may gap medyo. So I think we can have 100. Okay, ayan, di ba? Ayan. You can even adjust it into 125 if you would want. Okay, ayan. So those are the things that you need to remember with JButtons. So every time I click this button, something will happen. It's because of the action event, okay? And then the action event is activated with this code, itong add action listener. Okay? So I hope you learned something new. If you have questions, you can comment it down below. Thank you.